Hello, Gusties. I'm Carl Cronin.
And I'm Shelby Wilds. We hope you're enjoying the little bit of snow we have on the ground, just like we are.
In case you missed learning about the theater and dance department from the production Trojan Barbie, our reporter Tashiana sat down with professors and students of the theater and dance department to learn more.
This week, for our spotlight story on the theater and dance department, we interviewed professors and students about the philosophy of the department and their mission to tackle issues of social injustice through theater and dance.
We look at our department as providing opportunities to use performance in the arts as a means of personal transformation and a means of working for social justice and equality.
Social justice is fairly broad, and it's interpreted differently, I think, by all of us that teach here. And it's also, I don't think that it's different in terms that we're doing different things. I think we all have the same goal, we just have different ways of getting there.
Well, as a theater major, you learn skills that you wouldn't necessarily learn being a business major or marketing or any of that stuff. The way it is, you go to classes, and classes are usually 2 hours long, and then you go to rehearsal. So you're used to working long periods of time over months, or if you're in the next show after that, half a year, both semesters. Also, it teaches you to be very flexible. It teaches you to be very aware of your time commitments. It allows you to improvise in your everyday life.
My favorite part about the department is really the people and the way that we get to spend time together. I feel like a lot of departments, there's sort of that separation at times, either between people in the classes or between like the professors and the students. And I don't feel that at all. Like, I walk in, I know everyone's name, we all know each other's backstory, we all know how we relate, and we check in every day. And same with the professors. I can walk into any of their offices at any time and ask for help or advice on anything. If there's something that I don't like in class or that's not working for me, I can go in and we'll work it out until it works. So I feel like there's just so much support in the department.
I love being involved in the creative process. So working with my students on a very intimate level, both teaching them in the studio and then creating work with them, and also watching them come alive in their own creative form. So that is by far for me the most amazing experience. And the amount of self-learning that students are engaged in and find out about themselves. And then also I have amazing colleagues who are incredibly talented and are very committed to the work and to the students. So all of those things are very exciting about being a member of the department.
The theater here is very, as close as it can be, just like a theater in the professional world. Everything we do is run just the same way that professional theaters would run it. We just have class afterwards. And so that really helps students prepare for the real world by getting to see what it is exactly like. And I think people, like you were saying, in business majors don't necessarily work in an office right after class. They don't necessarily get those hands-on experiences. They have to go through internships and whatnot. But the nice thing about here is getting that hands-on experience.
With theater, there are deadlines, but they're not really called deadlines. It's just, we have to have our lines memorized by a certain time. You have to be on time, and on time means 10 minutes before, 10 if not earlier. And so just like the different skills that I've picked up through here, I think will be really beneficial. And I know that, if I get sick of acting, if I want to do a different avenue, such as, casting or something, like I feel prepared in that respect.
Be sure to attend the physical theater workshop in December and the choreographers gallery the weekend before Thanksgiving. Reporting for GAC TV, I'm Tashiana Thurick.
Now that there's snow finally on the ground, you'd think that the Arb wasn't usable. But our news director, Ava Gepfert, interviewed the director and workers at the Arb to see how it's enhancing Gustavus all year round.
It's important to sort of remember, too, that this is a fairly young arboretum. I mean, 40 years is not a real long period of time when we're talking about, the growth of trees. So this is a fairly young, fairly new arboretum. But it goes back to Charles Mason. Dr. Charles Mason was a professor here on campus, and this was an area of land that was largely undeveloped at that time, and there were a lot of different ideas floating around for what it should be. I've heard, from athletic fields to like an equestrian center to a golf course. I mean, there's tons of those things that you hear about that were floated back then. but it was Charles Mason and his wife Harriet and a whole other group of people that sort of said, no, we should develop a natural space, an arboretum space, and that's how it got started. If you ask 100 different people what they like about the arboretum, you'll probably get 100 different answers. There are people who use the arboretum for recreation, for running, for biking, for cross-country skiing, whatever. There are people who use the arboretum to just get away from everything, shut off your phone, leave it in the dorm room, leave the books behind, just get out and get away where there's quiet and space and peace. There are people that use the Arboretum, of course, for studies. We have classes out here. We have people who are doing research projects out here.
I take walks a lot in the Arb. Last year more so. This semester's been kind of busy, but yeah, I walk the trails a lot and enjoy the fall colors.
As the naturalist, I'm in charge of educational programming and educational endeavors, and that's everything from hosting groups of Gustavus students, hosting faculty and Gustavus students when they're in their environmental studies class and they're learning about habitats or biomes or trees or birds or whatever. From that to developing and putting on educational programming for the general community, whether it be a program about geocaching or turtles or whatever.
Even if you're not in the science classes where you have to learn about nature and ecology specifically, it's just enjoyable to get out here and learn about just different things that are going on. Like on our blog, we like to post different happenings in the Arb or whatever, and just little fun facts about an insect we find one day or a flower that's blooming.
We've got to make sure every single student here at Gustavus knows that this is a place that they can come to whenever they want and should come to whenever they want. It's here for them, and it's also here for the community.
Every time someone says, oh, the Arb's way over there, I'm like, but it's also a lot of fun when you are there, so take the 10-minute walk to get here.
The video games are not going to go away. The computers are not going to go away. We're not that naive, but we have to provide this alternative too, so that people have a balanced life, so they can play their video games and be online and whatever, but there's also this to help balance them out and make them a well-rounded person, a healthy person.
And remember, Gusties, to stop by the Arb anytime you have the chance.
That's all we have for you tonight. I'm Carl Cronin.
And I'm Shelby Wilds. Keep it classy, Gustavus.